Alright, welcome back to Tin Kings. I know I talked about him in the other video, but here he is for the first time. It's Dad.
Hi, how's it going? Welcome to our tiny garage.
Yeah, so we made some big changes here in the garage. First thing we did is we pulled the Mustang out, turned her around, and brought her back in nose first, so that way it's easier for us to film it, easier for us to work on it, and we get a better view of everything inside the garage here. Next, what we did also is we removed all the boxes and we put in a nice Harley and a 28 Ford.
Only because we didn't have any more room, so we needed to put our stuff somewhere. But yeah, so one of my friends, he often jokes and he's like, you're working in the shoebox tonight. And so that's what they call it, the shoebox. But it doesn't matter how big your garage is. You don't need a big garage. Small one's fine. Hey, we're out of the cold. We're inside. It's freezing outside. It's warm as toast in here. And getting back to the Mustang, we already took the fresh air intake or your shaker off the hood. And so we're ready to go. We're ready to start working on this thing.
Yeah, today is part day, and we're going to see what we have. What we have?
Yeah, so we ordered a bunch of parts from CJ Pony, and we got a lot of parts to put in this car.
Okay.
So I'll bring them out one by one. We got the new battery hold down, OEM style.
We have a battery hold down now because there wasn't one.
There wasn't one, you're right. Fender bolts.
Fender bolts.
Oh. To replace because the fender bolts under there, they're painted. And they really shouldn't be painted. Now this is the new carburetor for this bad boy. We're gonna keep the old carburetor, and I can rebuild it. It's gonna take time, and it's gonna take carb kit. Well, the carb kit's about 40 bucks,
right? And
it's hours of labor. I got this nice carburetor right here. It's already done. It's already done for cheap money, short money. So we're gonna put this new 2-barrel carburetor on there because we like we discussed this motor. We just want to make it run real good, but it may not be a forevermore. Running out of space. Put that. We'll put that over here. And then
there's still more.
Still more. Now moving on to the cooling system. So look at the nice new OE hoses with the original clamps on them. That's the original style clamps on both ends. Fan shroud,
right?
Because it's missing the fan shroud. And in the trunk we have a brand new OEM fan. It's got one of those fiberglass flex blades, which, were back in the day, they were popular, and they're a bit noisy, but we're just kind of going for the original look. So that's right from CJ Pony too. It's a OE style original fan blade that would have been in this car originally. Now, we just gotta get all these parts in there.
First, we're gonna tackle the ignition system. Now's the time to get out your pen and paper because there will be a test.
So on cars today, it's very simple. It's all coil on plug.
Yeah.
So let's say if you had V8, you'd have 8 coils, and the coil sits right on top of the spark plug. So you really can't make a mistake. But these old cars, you get 8 spark plug wires. Yeah. You got lots of opportunities to make a mistake here.
Yeah.
You can, if you just change cross 2, that's it. You got 2 cylinders misfiring at the wrong time. So this is a 351 Windsor. Cleveland rather. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the firing order, it's right here on the intake. You can usually find it. 1, 8, 7, 2, 6, 5, 4, 8. That's the firing order in a counterclockwise direction. So as the engine's spinning, we took the rotor off. Yeah. But the engine's spinning, and this is turning in a counterclockwise direction, and then the coil is firing here, to the rotor, and then the rotor, as it's turning, fires to each individual cylinders. So let's start changing some spark plugs. If you look closely, you see there's a groove right here, and then if you look down inside that rotor, there's a notch. So that notch has to line right up. Just like that. And that's it for that. Then if you look at the cap, it's an Autolite cap, so that's cool, because most everything was Autolite on these back in the day. And if you look there, see one tower, it says number 1. So that's basically where your firing order begins. As long as no one has ever done anything silly, you know, prior to us getting here. But we'll make sure this only goes on one way. Also, same thing. There's a groove, right?
Yeah.
So that's gonna line up with a notch right there. You really can't. This only goes on one way. So you don't make any mistakes. And then these little babies, they just snap. And that's that.
A quick Google search with the spark plug gaps on a 351 Cleveland came up with 35 thousandths, but we have an issue.
Let's pop one out here. I took this one out earlier, that's why it's loose, because I wanted to see what it had for a spark plug in it. And what do you know? These
35.
These are 35.
All right.
So we got these spark plugs out, and they all pretty much look just like that. Black and cruddy, no good. Fouling. That's because of that carburetor. That carburetor was literally just dumping raw fuel right down the throttle. Just sitting there idling, it was just pouring fuel down in there, just running way too rich. We know that carburetor is junk. It was literally flooding right over.
The new plugs we have are 40 thousandths, so Dad is using the spark plug gapper to check our new plugs, and then the time-tested technique of tapping them on a wood surface to close the gap. Horizontal or vertical. It's a tight fit with a 351 Cleveland in there. Never mind what it'd be like with the 428.
All right, so we just took this ugly coil off, and as you can see, if you look closely, it's got this flat, and it's supposed to be orientated on the intake, and they didn't get orientated right, and they just tightened the bolt down to bent the bracket. So we have our new coil right here. And this is our new Autolite coil. It's got the proper decal on it, which looks nice. But we're not going to put that bracket on this nice new coil. We're going to clean that bracket, we're going to sand it, and we're going to prime it and paint it. So here it is. 15 minutes later, sanded it all down, bare metal, put some etching primer on it, let it dry, and then put a little satin black on there, and you know, it makes a world of difference. Just spend a few minutes, make it just a little bit nicer, and we're gonna put this coil on there now, and she's gonna look pretty good. Okay, so we just finished pretty much the ignition part of it. Plugs, wires, cap, rotor, and new coil. So we installed a new coil with our new bracket, nice and clean, rewired it. And then, you know, you look around and then you see things. So if you look at this vacuum port, and they just got a rubber hose and they got a screw stuck in it, which used to be common practice. But if you look around a little bit more, you got one looped right here, same thing here, this one's wide open. So we're gonna correct that, because that's just hackery. Let me get my kit. You know, back in the day, not so much in the 70s, but 70s up into the 80s. 80s was crazy vacuum hoses. Everybody had all kinds of vacuum hoses going on, all the manufacturers. But they came out with these kits. So basically all your plugs, T's, so on and so forth. This is a nice little kit, and we're gonna fix that. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna make that better. Proper caps, the way it should be.
Alright, so that's all for today's video. Join us next time, where we're either going to tackle the cooling system or maybe get into the battery hold down and the windshield wipers.